Hi, this is Rabbi Chaim Kaufman. Welcome to our 291st installment in the Torah portion of the week. We're holding my Parshat Matos Maase, another double Parsha, as we always say. You know, if you have double Parsha, have numbered double Parshas, because you have to finish the Torah within 1 year. And finally, outside of Israel is going to be on the same path as us. And here in Israel, meaning they're also going to have a double Parsha, and they're going to finally catch up. So Parshat Matos, all about making vows and oaths, battle against Midian, Moshe rebukes the officers, laws of kosher utensils, division of the spoils, etc. Also the request of Reuben, the tribes of Reuben and Gad, Moshe's objection. When you got Parshat Maase, all about where they go. They went here, they went there, they went other places in the desert. So I've spoken about that a few times in my previous videos on Parshat Maase. But we're going to hit something interesting. I mean, Torah is always interesting. But here the Torah says, chapter 31 verse 1 and 2. So the Shem spoke to Moshe saying, take vengeance of the children of Israel against the Midianites. Afterward, you will be gathered into your people. So what's the command? God over here says, you're going to take revenge against the Midianites. And after you do that, you're going to die. Right? God says that I'm going to take it. It's very interesting. What does Moshe do? He gets people together, right? He gets the army together and he goes straight away. Right? Fight against him. That he knows he's going to die. Afterwards, he doesn't wait. Right? He doesn't wait over here. So now, comes along Moshe Rebbe. I'm going to Moshe, it should be well. And he brings down in Tam V'das and his commentary on Chumash. And he says, interesting enough, what does the Torah say? You're going to take revenge. God says take revenge against the Midianites for what happened, right? Because of the Midianite women, what happened? 24,000 people were killed, right? Because they sinned with these women. Now, what does God say? Rabbi here says, take revenge against the Midianites. Yeah, what happened? Many Jews were killed, right? We mentioned 24,000 in the Parshas, by Parshas Pinchas, or before actually by the end of Parshas Boaz. That's what was brought down. 24,000 were killed till Pinchas came on the scene, right, and kills Cosby Batsur and Zimri. Regardless, many Jews were killed. So God says you're going to take revenge against them. What did he do? What did Moshe Rabbeinu do? So here he took people for the army, right, to take revenge. Who are these Anoshim? Who are these people? Rashi says anytime, nor what it mean when we speak about Anoshim means Anashim Chashuvim, important people, i.e. tzaddikim. He took righteous people to take revenge. Right? He's going to take revenge against the Midianites for the sake that, desecration of God's name, right? And they, the men were with Midianite women, right? And all that. So, since it was desecration of God's name, God says, I want you to take revenge. I want you to sanctify my name. Now, very interesting, Jewish people made a mistake. Right? What was the mistake that they made? The mistake was they killed the men. They wiped out the men. They left the women alive. Now, interesting, the sin of Baal Peor, when the Midianite women wanted them to do idolatry, right? In other words, the whole point of the Jews doing idolatry so they could be with the women, right? So they were eager. Jews were eager, to transgress idolatry, God forbid, but in order to get the women, in order to be with the women. But the reality is, why did they kill the men? The sin was done to the women. Right? It's really done with the women of Moab. Right? In other words, it was done with the women of Moab, not with the women of Midian. Right? But what happened? Why does they take revenge against the Midianites? Why not take revenge against Moab? You say, but they can't. Right? Maybe they're not allowed to. But Why Midian? Because the Midianites gave the advice. Who were the Midianites? Who was part of the Midianites? Bilam, the evil, non-Jewish prophet. He gave the advice. He gave the advice because one of the things God hates is immorality. And he gave the advice. So it comes on God and says, okay, I want to take revenge against the enemies on this, desecration of Kavod Shemayim. This desecration of, God's glory. God's glory is what the Jewish people. Jewish people sin tremendously. They're going to take revenge. But not against the Moabites. Interesting, against the Midianites. What did they think? They thought they'd have to kill the women. Only the man. But he says over here, says no. What were the women? The women were only messengers over here in order to get the Jewish people to sin. Right? The women were there to put a stumbling block in front of the Jewish people. So they should have killed the women. Right? So we should have killed the women. Well, what? So they thought it's not fitting to take revenge against the women. So take revenge against the men. Because who gave the advice? Bilam. And where did Bilam come from? Midian. But they made a mistake. Moshe got angry. And he says that the immorality was done through the women of Moab. Right? And who gave the advice was Bilam. Yeah, but really, the advice came from where? Came from Midian. So his advice included over here. And he's the one that caused him to go astray. And who joined in? Right? They even tell me the women of Moab. But through his advice, it's like he joined in. Because what do we see before? Who was Zimri with? Doing the jitterbug will keep this clean. Who is he with? When he sinned in public, Kasvi Batsor, the Nasi of Midian, the prince of Midian. And she made herself ownerless, doing the jitterbug with Zimri in order to increase the immorality. Which caused the Jews to go after Moabite women. So therefore what? They made a mistake. They should have gone after the women. Kill the women, so they killed the men. They made a mistake. Because the women, helped them. They took the advice. They helped the men to go after Jewish men. They took the advice from Bilam and got the men to sin. So what does my Rebbe say here? What do we learn? What do we learn? The punishment of someone who causes someone to go astray and gives advice for the sake of sin. That even if they themselves did not transgress, they get punished as if they helped. That they actually did the affair. That they actually did the sin. Mind-boggling idea. Mind-boggling idea over here. What do I have? Right? What do I have over here? Who gave the advice? Midian. Right? Bilam. Where'd he come from? Midian. Very good. He's the one who gave the advice. Okay. Now, if Bilam gave the advice, who's the one who caused him to sin? Moab. So even though they gave him advice, caused them to sin. It's as if they have a part in it. Right? That's what my Rebbe says. They gave advice to do the sin. But even if they themselves did not transgress, the fact that they gave the advice and caused it is just as bad. They're part of it. So how can you say they're exempt? How can you say don't kill the women? They took the advice. You see a few things over here. First of all, we understand anyone who causes someone to go astray, regardless if they know what they're doing or not, meaning how much Torah knowledge do they have, even if they don't have any Torah knowledge. They cause people to go astray, that's worse. That's worse than the sin itself in many ways. The sin is bad, no question. But the fact is, you're causing someone to go astray. Causing someone to go astray is a huge affair. Huge. It's a huge sin. So over here, they gave advice. And through the advice, 24,000 Jews are killed. 24,000. Because of this bad advice. So God over here says to Moshe Rabbeinu, I want you to take revenge against the Midianites. What the Midianites do over here? They sin with the daughters of Moab. Should have killed the women. Yeah, sure. They made a mistake. But the giving of advice, and this is an important thing, the giving advice is so crucial that if a person not only gives the wrong advice, right? But causes people to sin, that is a big deal. That's a big deal. Right? It's one thing you do things behind closed doors. Okay? That's your choice. You'll pay a price, but that's your choice if you transgress. But you want others to sin? You want others to go in the wrong path? That's a different issue. That's a totally different issue. You're going to get seriously punished. And you see groups today, that's what they want. It's not enough for them to do things, however they want. It's not bad enough. But the fact that they're out there, the fact that they're making statements, the fact that they're saying we're coming after your kids, it's pretty bad. Do what you want behind closed doors. You want to go after the masses? Change the way people think? That's worse. That's 10 times worse. You'll say, these people don't know any better. They never learned. They've been teaching Nishba. We've spoken about this many times. That doesn't matter. Take someone who's a Reform rabbi, right? Use a Reform rabbi as an example. Take someone who's a Reform rabbi. He doesn't know Aleph Beis, barely. Knows very little about Judaism, let's say. But what does he do? He's causing other people to go astray. Conservative rabbi, no different. Some unorthodox rabbis, no different. They're causing people to go astray according to their own thing, according to their own ideas. But see, Reform is worse because their whole goal is by Rebbe would say, stop root Torah. That's worse. So by teaching this heresy, regardless of what they know, what they don't know, when it comes to Torah mitzvahs and how much they ever learned, they're causing other people to sin. So they have a hand in that. That's worse. The Rebbe's going further. He's saying they gave advice. They gave advice. Giving advice, you'd say, maybe it's not so bad. But he says giving advice is no different than Maasei as a rabbi. You're causing other people to sin. Because Balaam understood, what does God hate more than anything else? Immorality. That's how he got them to sin. Right? And these Moabite women, what did they do? So they didn't care. They were willing to get these Jews to sin. But where did the advice come from? Didn't come from Moab. Should have wiped out all of Moab. There wasn't a command to wipe out Moab. Because where did the advice come from? It came from Midian. Since it came from Midian, they're just guilty. And you see, you had a Midianite princess. Right? And a Midianite princess over here was Zimri. That started the whole thing. Right? Then Pentecost came along. So you see, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. You say, the Moabite women, but, sure you had Midianite women. We're not living in Victorian England over here. Right? So they're just as bad. in many ways. But over here, it came from someone else. It came from Midian. So my Rebbe here says, unbelievable. He says, you see that the punishment of someone who causes someone to go astray and giving their advice for the sake of sin, that even if they themselves then transgress the sin, they're considered mishutofim. They're considered like they're together. They're like partners. But they didn't do the sin. Over here, he didn't do the sin. Doesn't matter. The fact is, gave advice to do the sin. Guilty not only by association, guilty by giving bad advice. Giving bad advice is a severe prohibition. Yeah, you got to be careful. Right, someone asks you advice and you're not sure, you don't know, don't give advice. Someone asks you for directions, you're not sure, 100% or 60%. Say, I don't know. Because if you get them lost, you transgress. But that's not even half as bad. Right? Because here you thought you do the right way. Here we're talking about what someone who causes someone else to sin. That's 10 times worse. 10 times worse even if you didn't do the Aveira yourself. Even if you did not sin yourself. Mind-boggling. Not just guilty by association, you caused them to sin. Causing a person to sin does what? You get punished. Severely punished, even if you didn't do it yourself. So the Torah, it should have said, take revenge from Moab. But that's the whole question. That's the whole question. Moshe Rabbeinu gets upset. We're talking about the men. Why'd you kill the men? Who's the one who caused the sin in the first place? The women. Guilty by association. Guilty, that's a whole other thing. But here we're talking about person gave advice for the sake of them sinning, even if you did not sin yourself. Mind-boggling idea. Because you're causing other people to sin. Anybody out there not teaching Torah the way it should be, and cutting corners and other things, they're teaching people to sin. Whether they know or not, doesn't matter. Plenty of people out there, barely read the Aleph Beis, don't know very much about Judaism at all, causing people to do things, teaching them the wrong way. Doesn't matter how they were brought up. Doesn't matter what they know or they don't know. They're causing people to sin, period. They don't get off scot-free, not at all. It's one thing you want to do this for yourself. You want to do this for your family. You want to educate your family that way. Okay. But causing other people to go in that wicked way, pretty severe sin. Pretty severe prohibition. And you see, giving bad advice, in this case, causing other people to sin, what does it do? Give them severe punishment, even if they themselves do not do the sin. Mind-boggling idea. So anyone who wants to give advice out there, they know what they're doing, good. If you don't know what you're doing, don't give advice. Not only that, but don't cause people to go astray. You want to do what you want to do it behind closed doors. Do it with your own family. But go out there and try and show the world, we want to go after your kids. We want to take your kids, brainwash them. Maybe they think they'll be different different gender, whatever. Totally brainwash them. Now, if they do the sin, that's just bad, right? But even if they don't sin, but they say, I want them to go in this direction, I want to influence them, in different ways. So that's just as bad as doing sin itself, even if you didn't do it. I want to remind everyone of class on Duties of the Heart every Tuesday, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. We're in the gate of self-accounting. I have 2 Q&As, Tuesday and Thursday, 10 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 o'clock Israel time. That is on Tuesday and Thursday. Saturday, Pirkei Avos, Ethics of Our Fathers, 2:30 Eastern Time, 9:30 Israel time. Sunday, Pack Day, Book of Leviticus, chapter 17, right? Just started chapter 17. 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 4 o'clock Israel time. And Noahide Nations, we started from the beginning of Duties of the Heart for Noahides. We're still in the introduction. I also have conversion classes. Anyone interested in any of this, find me on Facebook at Michael Chaim Kaufman, or be on Orthodox Conversion Judaism, orthodoxconversion.com, or be on Orthodox Conversion Judaism on YouTube. There I got Torah Portion of the Week, videos on Torah Portion of the Week, Pirkei Avos, Ethics of Our Fathers, Book of Leviticus chapter 16, Q&As, controversial issues. Want to send me an email? RabbiChaimKoffman@gmail.com. RBBIChaimCoffman@gmail.com.